Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so very much for taking time to do this interview.
No worries. I'm happy to do that because then I can promote my band, so pretty good for me too.
Oh, awesome. Well, of course, what a great way to be able to promote this band and to be able to talk about a brand new album from MaYaN, which is coming out the 21st of September through Nuclear Blast. I just got the album yesterday, so I didn't get to check it out as much as I normally would, but I did get to sit down with this for a few spins, and I absolutely love what's going on with this album. I love the production that's going on there. The songwriting is just top notch. Just like everyone just seems to be on top form on this album, and I just really love what you guys did this time around.
Oh, thank you. That sounds good.
So, with that said, how did the songwriting process begin for this new album?
Yeah, first of all, we sat together and we were asking ourselves what can we do better than what we have done before, because we knew we would have 1 year time to promote this album and do as many as possible shows, because Epica will take a year, a bit of a break. So we knew if we make now the album that we are dreaming of with MaYaN, then we can, for 1 year, play as many shows as we want. So we were sitting together and we said, let's make this happen with this third album and do whatever we can to bring it to the next level. So first of all, yeah, we did spend more time writing the songs. We were doing a bigger pre-production with our producer Joost van den Broek. We also sat down with him how we could make the album sound better than the two before, even though we were happy about the two before, but we wanted to try everything to make everything better. And the third thing was to have the live orchestra on the album, and that was also the most difficult thing to realize, but everything in the end worked out. So we have now with this album everything we could dream of, so we are extremely happy.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that as well. And it is so great that you were able to get the full real orchestration on this album, because it really does add so much atmosphere and authenticity to the album. I mean, there's so much that can be done with synths and orchestrations through keyboards and backing tracks and whatever, but when you're actually able to get a full-on orchestra to be able to be incorporated onto an album, it just sounds so great.
Yeah, I completely agree. And since we worked with Epica with an orchestra, then you know that then it would be hard to go back to just samples, and even though samples nowadays sound pretty good too, but still when a human is playing it, it's different. You get a soul in an instrument, and that's something you cannot do with samples. So when we had the chance to do it with the orchestra, when the fans supported us with it to be able to do it, then we took the chance with both hands.
Oh, fantastic with that. And of course, you did mention Epica as well, who just so happened to release a covers EP just a little while ago with Attack on Titan songs. What was that like for you to be able to work on this full brand new MaYaN album and also be able to do something so different on the side with Epica?
Yeah, that's often what people ask me. How do you manage to do all these things at the same time? But it was planned very well, and the Epica EP was already we worked on that one before we were recording the MaYaN album. So, but it was just pretty late release because of the agreement we had with the Japanese label, who wanted to release it first exclusively in Japan. So it worked really well with the planning this time, but I must confess that it was a lot of work. But as long as the end result is what we have in mind, then it doesn't matter how much work it is. That because the goal is what matters, and the music when that sounds like you want it to sound, then you forget all the troubles and all the workload you had before, because then there's just the art to enjoy.
Absolutely, and that's what makes everything worth it. And it's so great to be able to see that you're in that position where you are able to work on these different styles, work in these different bands and projects, and be able to show off more creativity while you still have that opportunity. I mean, while the inspiration is there, do as much as you possibly can, as long as it's authentic.
Exactly, yeah. There's always a balance that you have to keep in mind. When you do too much, you lose your creativity, because then you get stressed. But if the creativity is flowing in the right way, then you have to let it come, because then it's there and you have to use it. And I really learned over all those years that when creativity is flowing, to make use of it, because it's there, and then you have to be thankful when it's there, because it can be also over the next day. So whenever it comes, and sometimes it comes at times that you don't expect it, but then I learned to make use of it whenever it's there. And for me, that works great. So I also never have what many musicians sometimes say, that writer's block, because I never suffer from that, because whenever I don't feel like that there's music coming, I don't even try it, because I know then it's useless. So I just follow my intuition, and whenever my intuition says it's the right time, I work on music. And for me, that works perfect like that.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it too. I mean, when you're in that position, when you don't always need to feel that pressure for whatever reasons to have to put something out, and you're not going to be able to have your whole heart and soul behind it. I mean, that can take a lot out of it. But when you're in that position that you're in right now, when you're able to write when you want to write, when you don't have that inspiration, you don't need to worry about it, and you're able to just show off all these different sides of what you can do.
Yeah, and that's also what that's very important for me. I need that I can do different things. So, for example, with Epica, we do different things than with MaYaN, and with, for example, Laura Macris album that I wrote many songs for. That's an album that my girlfriend recorded she's more like an opera singer, and that's a completely different style of music. But once I work on something completely different, I have more inspiration after that for another style of music. In case I would do all the time the same style of music, then I would start maybe more easily repeat myself, because then I would get bored. And so I always look for challenges, and that's also the Attack on Titan, why it's a challenge, because it's also out of our comfort zone. It's different than we have done before, but that's also what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, and you never know when that inspiration and creativity might be able to spark something in the future as well. I mean, being able to do something that's so left of center of what Epica does, doing an Attack on Titan EP, you never know when inspiration might be able to hit to do something that much fun and different in the future.
Exactly, and that's why we're always open-minded, and whatever comes to our path, just like the Attack on Titan, it wasn't planned at all, but suddenly there was this offer to do it, and we looked into it, and we watched the series, and we listened to the music, and then we said, yes, let's do it. Even though it was completely not planned, like I said, and it was not even fitting in the schedule, still we could make it fit, and that's how it is. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen in the future. Whatever will come to our path, we will see what we can do and what fits us. And yeah, like I said before, that's what makes it so much fun. These surprising things that you don't expect.
Oh, absolutely. And when you are able to do that, I mean, again, just like getting back into MaYaN, I mean, it's so great to be able to see that you are able to do all these different things with different bands and projects. But when you're coming back home into this third album from MaYaN, and you are able to emphasize so much of what the core of what MaYaN is all about, but still being able to progress and show that creativity of what the band is capable of as well. And it's great to be able to hear that with this album.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, because that was what we had in mind. That was what we have been working so hard on. And so then when people say that they can hear that, and then it pays off all the efforts we did for this album. And yeah, like I said, we are very proud of it. And now that the reaction starts coming in, that people really like it, that's the best feeling for us, because that's why we did what we do.
Absolutely. So with that said, I mean, obviously, again, with the album coming out the 21st of September, singles are released to be able to help promote that album. And with that, what was the choice to make The Rhythm of Freedom into the first single for people to be able to check out?
Yeah, we had to make decisions what we would choose, and that's always a hard decision, because for every song you can mention some advantages why to pick that song. But we decided just for the first single difficult to pick the first song of the album, as that's also going to be the first song that the people going to hear when they buy the album. So that was basically the main reason. We just picked the first song for that reason, and also because it has a very nice vibe. It brings something extra that people don't know from MaYaN yet. It starts right away with the orchestra that we recorded, that we are so happy with. So these reasons that's why we picked that song. But it could have been also another song, and also there's going to be a video released the next week, and that's going to be Dhyana, which is also not an obvious choice, because usually bands don't pick a ballad as a video. But for us it felt right doing so. It was just an intuitive feeling, and we just did it. And then on the release date, the 21st of September, we're going to release another song, Saints Don't Die, and that's going to be the biggest video of all three of them.
Oh, and that is just so fantastic to hear that too, and it's great to see the motions have all been set for all three singles, because all three of those songs are so different from each other, but they really represent what the album is capable of. I mean, whether you're looking for like the heavy orchestration, whether you're looking for a softer, more melodic ballad, or just showing off what MaYaN is completely capable of. I mean, between all three of those singles, I mean, those are some great choices.
Yeah, exactly, and that shows indeed all the different sides of MaYaN, and that's also why we picked these three completely different songs. But like I said, it's hard to pick some songs, but we just did what felt right, and I think that's the right thing to do with whatever in life anyway.
Oh, completely agreed. I mean, whether it's about music or just life in general, I mean, you want to be happy with what you're doing, and when you stop having fun with what you're doing, I mean, you got to reassess the situation and see if there is a way to make the changes to make it fun again, or possibly do something else. So, the fact that, after all this time with MaYaN, with this being the third album, just constantly progressing with the creativity and inspiration that's going on, and just constantly seeing this band grow bigger and better, I'm glad to see that the fun is still there.
Oh yeah, the fun with MaYaN is really there, and also we did a few months ago our first European tour that was together with Leaves Eyes, and I must say that was one of the most fun tours I've ever done in my life. And there's some guys in MaYaN who haven't done many tours, and that's maybe also a very positive thing, because for them it's new. They're so happy to do that, and that gives me also a lot of happiness when I see around me that people are enjoying so much, and then I enjoy a lot too. And with MaYaN, we have a really very nice group of people together who give each other support when we need it, but also positive vibes. And with MaYaN, nothing has to happen. There's no pressure, because we all have our things besides MaYaN, and that's maybe also the good thing. There's no pressure. We can do whatever we want, and we can just enjoy it without any expectations.
Yeah, and when you are able to get on a tour like that, I mean, especially being able to tour with a band such as Leaves Eyes, and being able to show off what MaYaN is capable of in the live setting with no pressure, just like going out there and, well, I mean, obviously the pressure of like being able to put on a good show and making sure that the fans are going to be happy, but, just like going out there and, picking the right songs that you want to be able to play, just having that fun time of being able to do a tour, not playing the music that some people may not know you best for, but showing off all these different sides of your personality and creative writing and stuff like that. I mean, that's just so cool to be able to pull that off.
Yes, exactly, and that's exactly it. And that being said, even though there's no pressure, still with that third album, we felt like we do whatever we can to bring this album to the next level. But then what happens then, it's beyond our control. So we work hard, we do our very best. We want to keep having fun. That's the main thing for us. We really want to have fun. And then we hope also for bigger shows and bigger tours. But even if that would not happen, it doesn't make us sad or make us stop stop doing the band. That won't change that.
And that makes me so happy to hear that too. I mean, if this is an album, well, of course, like the band in general, but if this is an album just showing off how much fun that you can have in a band, not having that pressure of feeling like you have to write something that's the most commercially successful or whatever the case is, and you're able to just enjoy the music that you're writing. I mean, you're already doing it for the right reasons, and it can only get better from there on out as long as you always have that in mind.
Yeah, and that's also what we do with Epica. We also follow just our intuition, but with Epica, there's obviously more pressure because there's much more expectations. When there's a new album, there's so many people you can disappoint. So that's still a different thing. We don't try to think too much about that and just do whatever we feel like as well. But it's different still. When you release an album with Epica, there's so many eyes on it. And when you release an album with MaYaN, it's much more. You can work on it in peace, and it's just different. A different level of pressure.
Oh, I can absolutely imagine so. And with that in mind, I mean, of course, with this being the third album from MaYaN, you want to make sure that you're staying creative, like fresh with what you're doing in the band as well, making sure that you're happy with what you're doing. So, with that, how did you approach how you wrote this album? Like, how did you know what direction that you wanted to go in with MaYaN for this album?
Yeah, we didn't discuss too much about what direction we wanted it to be MaYaN, but we also, the only thing that we said to each other is let's focus on that the choruses are more standing out even more than before, and to have this, we always have some complex song structures here and there, but on this album it's more balanced, I think, because we notice when we play on festivals and we play there very complex song, people that hear us for the first time, then it might be a bit too much for them because there's a lot going on in MaYaN. So we thought on this new album, if we put as many as possible songs that also you can play on a festival where people hear you for the first time, and still that it appeals to them, that's the goal that we want to reach with this album. So still we have this MaYaN style, and still we have some complex songs, but we wanted it to be a little less complex, a bit more accessible.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that you said that as well too, because the first track is a prime example of that. I mean, it's able to showcase all these different sides of MaYaN, but it still has those great technical, complex moments on there. But it also has some of the most catchy moments that I've heard to a MaYaN album to date, and that's why it was so great to be able to see that release as a first single. I mean, those choruses with the clean vocals are just so catchy, and they can grab people that are just still trying to comprehend everything that they heard from like the complex parts that came before it, but it still comes together in this great way where you can comprehend everything that is going on and you are able to enjoy it.
Yeah, that was the goal. So if you say that it sounds to you like this, then we reached our goal.
Yeah, and I can just imagine, being able to play more shows in the future and stuff like that. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling knowing that you have 3 albums worth of material to be able to choose from now. I mean, of course, hard to decide what song's going to be played live, but it's great to be able to know that you have 3 albums worth of music to choose from.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a big plus, because when you have just one album out, then your set list is basically all the time the same. When you have two albums out, there's already a bit more variation possible, but when you have 3 albums out, then finally you can do a great set list for club shows. You can make a different set list for festivals, and you have so much to choose from. And I'm really looking forward to make set lists with having these 3 albums in the pocket. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, definitely.
And with that said, of course, just with that creativity flowing and everything, when it comes into this new album, how did you know which lyrical direction that you wanted to go in?
Yeah, that's a funny question, because lyrically, we made a bit of a switch from the past, where we were mainly society critical. We had society critical lyrics, towards now a completely different kind of approach. And the reason reason for that is I had this theme, and I wanted to use it first for the next Epica album about Dhyana, but then I thought, it takes still maybe 2 years before we have a new Epica album, and it would be a pity. I'm now really into this topic. Why I wouldn't use it for MaYaN, just for the sake of that we have this normally another direction of lyric writing. Why would I hold back just for that reason? So I thought I just follow my intuition also with this. It feels good to use this topic for MaYaN, even though I would have used it for Epica in case there would be a new Epica album coming out anytime soon. But I just did what felt good, so I decided to write like this, and the inspiration was flowing, so I knew it was the right decision to do.
And I'm glad to hear that too, and that also was very refreshing for me as well. I mean, of course, I love the previous two albums, but I really love this more of like this inner perspective that's going on throughout the entire album. And, it was great to be able to hear that from the first song alone, just like, pushing your inner spirit and trying to become better. Of course, in the midst of war and everything, but still just like constantly trying to push yourself to be better.
Yeah, and I think also that there's really a positive message in it, and I feel also really good with this message. And when I read about this subject, there was so much inspiration coming up, and the main theme is that Dhyana, and that is when the moment that the mind gets absorbed by the heart. That's so beautiful already when you read something like that, and that's really literally the moment the now moment, without worries about the past, without worries about the future, just the now. And the more you live in the now, the more you enjoy the now moment, the more happiness you have in life. It's literally true. And especially nowadays where there's so many people depressed and on antidepressiva, this could be a message that can really change lives. And I noticed it myself. I was also going through a difficult period in my life, and when I started realizing that you can yourself change more than you think, and I started adapting that in my own life, and I thought, this is so powerful. Everybody should know it.
And while I'm thinking about that as well, I mean, I'm also sadly one of those people that currently going through some hard times right now, and more depressing things that are going on. You don't have to get into detail if you don't want to, but I'm just curious from personal experience. When did the switch hit you where you are able to realize that you are able to take more self-control and live in the moment, and you can become happier that way?
Yeah, the switch came when I realized that I read one sentence in a book, I don't even remember which book it was, but where it said, sometimes one little thing can make you sad for a whole day without you realizing that it was that little thing what made you feel like that. And sometimes not even a day, sometimes even a couple of days or a whole week. And then it was explained like, if you find out what caused that, and you look at it and you find the cause, and you see how insignificant it is, and you realize, hey, I don't let this happen to myself. I don't let this little thing make myself feel bad for a whole day. Then you can change it, and it really works. And then I started adapting that, and then I realized it's really true.
So with that, I mean, was that something that you were like instantly being able to realize and work on, or did it take a bit to be able to realize those negative things are so insignificant?
Oh yeah, it took a while, because you get in this vicious circle sometimes in life, and then even you even don't remember sometimes what is causing all of the things that you start feeling bad. Sometimes it's a clear thing when, for example, a family member passes away that was very dear to you. That's a clear example why you feel bad. But sometimes it's not so clear, and then you just feel bad, and you don't know exactly why. You get up and you feel bad already. These things happen to me too, and but then I started thinking, because I don't want to use any medication or whatever, that I want to solve the things in a natural way. And then I started diving into these topics and finding out how powerful we are ourselves to create our lives. And that's not only this, but also that moment of now, when you realize that we are so much thinking about future future things instead of enjoying the moment itself. That's also a big thing to change, because for example, I was always busy with the future, so all the time what the next step, but then you forget to enjoy that the actual moment. So you work a long time to reach a certain level with a band, you play big shows, but then on the day of the big show there's always something to worry already about for the next week or the month, the next month, but then you forget to enjoy that big show that you have the day itself. And I decided to change that and enjoy more the things that are actually going on the day itself.
Oh, and that right there, I mean, I find that so very inspiring. I mean, obviously, so many people out there, I mean, it's more rare to find someone that doesn't go through personal struggles or mental struggles or whatever the case is. And, you know, just seeing that you were able to do that, even now, being able to see that you were able to get away from that darkness and constantly working on yourself, trying to find those positive moments, really enjoying the things, whether it's like playing a huge festival or going out on tour, writing music, or just surrounding yourself with positive things, positive people, and just trying to enjoy life as it comes to you. I mean, it's so great to be able to see that you're living with that right now.
Yeah, and then that's it. And like you say, there's more people that almost everybody that I know is going through hard times. There's a friend of mine, he's going through a divorce, and there's somebody calling me. Oh. Yeah, it's already the next interview.
I didn't even realize what time it was.
Time.
No, it's just in the midst of conversation that happens. But I'll let you go. I don't want to hold up that next person, but I thank you so very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me, talk about everything that's going on in the world of MaYaN right now, including the brand new album coming out September 21st through Nuke the Blast. New Epica, I'm sure, to be coming in the future as well. That's definitely something to look forward to, and everything in the meantime with that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be able to talk to me today.
Thank you too, and I hope you also feel better very soon, because we all deserve happiness.